Christian Parenting.
Welcome to the Christian Parenting Podcast. I'm your host, Steph Thurling. I'm the Executive Director of Christian Parenting, a mom of 3, and I am so glad that you're here. This is a place where you can bring your real self, no matter what that looks like today, and be given the space, resources, and encouragement you need to set aside perfection and grow into the perfectly imperfect parent God made you to be. Hey friends, today is such a fun episode because I get to sit down with Michelle Fortin and Leann Deering, who are the comedians behind Top Knot Comedy. I have been a fan for a long time, so it was so fun to be with them. We cover a lot in this convo. They discuss their journey into comedy, the challenges of balancing faith and comedy, the importance of laughter in parenting and life. And in this conversation, Leann and Michelle so honestly discuss their experiences with loss, the power of laughter in difficult times, and the importance of friendship. They share personal stories of supporting each other through a lot of different challenging moments and how comedy has been a source of healing and connection for both of them. There's even the sweetest moment where Michelle gives Leann a gift that she's been holding on to for years, so make sure that you don't miss that. I hope that you enjoy this episode as much as I did. Hello, Leann and Michelle. Welcome to the Christian Parenting Podcast.
Hi, Steph. Thanks for having us. We're so excited to be here with you.
Yeah, and we have a guest. We have a fourth person.
We do.
Today.
Yes. Say hi, Lilabelle. You say hello.
There's a baby with us.
She's chewing on my lip gloss right now, so you can't hear her.
Which is great. First baby on the podcast, which is actually kind of surprising.
Yeah.
You would think we would have had one by now, but
congratulations,
we are excited
Lily.
to have her.
Is there some kind of plaque or sash that she will be?
I can definitely send a certificate.
Oh, perfect.
Or something good.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Baby's
absolutely.
first podcast. Love it.
Yeah. Like a little, like wings from an airplane.
Yeah.
But like a podcast microphone.
She deserves that. Oh, and there's my lip gloss. Okay.
All right. You guys, will you tell us who you are? I don't know who wants to go first. You can kind of just, whoever wants to start. Tell us who you are. Tell us about your family. And then I did say you have to describe your family in one word or phrase.
Okay. Well, I am Leann Deering. I have been married to Matt Deering for 16 years. Together, we have 5 kids. We own our own business. We have an acting school here in Phoenix called the Deering Studio. So we've been teaching actors for, it's crazy, over a decade and a half. It really flew by. Together, we have 5 kids, and we are a homeschool family. This is a very hard, in a word or a phrase, I'm going to say artistic and enormous. That's how I describe my family. Artsy and just humongous.
It's a lot of you.
Yeah. There's a million.
Yeah, I feel like that tracks.
Yeah, it does. It does. And you are artsy.
Yes.
I'm Michelle Fortin. I'm the other half of this duo. I'm the brunette. She's the blonde. Not that makes any sense with our intellect, but anyway, she's way smarter than me. I've been married to Jason also for 16 years. We had 2 kids. My son is, they're middle school age, so 13 and 11. And I'm a professor, actually, is my full-time job at Grand Canyon University teaching broadcasting, which is my background. And the word for my family is maturing. We are maturing from elementary into middle school. We've got the hormones going on. My husband said to me this morning, he said, for the first time in my life, I'm starting to feel old. And I've been feeling that way for a little bit. I'm covering my grades every 6 weeks. So we are maturing. That's the phase that we're in.
Yes. I love that, though.
Yeah.
It's beautifully said.
Yeah,
that's a new word. I haven't had that one before, but I like it.
But you have had artistic and enormous, so I'm winning. Is that
we have not actually both. They're all new. All those are new words. I may have had artistic or some variation of that, but yes, I love that. I feel like those are good words. We have a lot of maturing and growing in our family too, not in size, but in age, in the hormones, in the preteens, and
hormones
just
are
a new
real.
Season.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
And embracing being middle-aged parents, and all of the good and all the blessing that entails too.
Yes.
I want to get into how you guys know each other and what you guys do together. But first you have to answer my other question, which is, what is one thing you want every parent to know?
What is one thing we want every parent to know? Okay, this is not going to be funny. I might be funny later, but not at this moment. So the way that the Lord grew my family and surprised my husband and I with the journey of becoming parents. And what that looked like was just in no way what I expected, just really in no way. And so I would say, looking back now, being 40, looking back on the last 12, 13 years of growing babies, losing babies, loving our babies, I can look back and confidently say, I wish I had trusted the Lord more in every season. I wish that I had just given him a lot more credit because he was doing something so beautiful and so splendid that I could not possibly have conceived of, pun intended. And so I would say, this sounds like a pat answer, but it sounds like Christianity 101, but trust him as much as you are able in the moment, and know that when you look back, however much you can trust him, you'll wish you could trust him more, because he is faithful and he delights in proving himself faithful in our parenting.
That's so good. I feel like, yes, Christianity 101, but it's what we have to be reminded of every day. I have a Tuesday morning Bible study, and we were actually talking about that this morning, is sometimes we forget how faithful he is and how good he is, and to trust in him just because we're busy, and it just is like, well, I got it. I'm going to do it myself. I'm good.
What I would love every parent to know, and this sounds cliche too, but it's so true, is that God chooses those kids for you. So whatever friction there is or need that arises that you don't understand in your child, God is using that child to refine you, and you are the perfect parent for that kid. That kid would not thrive with any other parent the most as God would want them to. So just to remind that, it's hard, especially the little years are well, now I'm learning the middle school years are also hard. But, God is using you specifically with that kid. It's a perfect match. So just to be reminded of that has helped me a lot through different seasons of parenting.
You are on fire today, Fortin.
Oh, thank you.
This is everything that comes out of her mouth is a sermon. I love it.
I feel like we could just end now because those were two really
we're
good
done.
things.
We have nothing more to say. That was a chat. Well, thank ChatGPT for that. I'm just kidding.
But then we want to get into the comedy, and that's what we want to talk about. So tell us, Top Knot Comedy, how did you end up getting into comedy together? And how does an Enneagram 8 and 4, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How do those people work so well together?
Ours is truly a love story for the ages. I love our friendship love story.
It is a good one.
Okay. Let's go all the way back.
Yes.
The year was 2017.
It was.
Farmhouse was hot.
Yes. Joanna Gaines was the top of the charts.
TikTok? What's that?
Never heard of it.
Barely knew what it was. And I get a phone call from a stranger saying, I got your number from a mutual friend. I'm going to be doing an improv show at Scottsdale Bible Church, which is a huge church here in Arizona. And I need a partner. And how would you like to be that partner?
Mm-hmm. That the stranger, spoiler alert, was me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she said yes. It was like a blind date to do an improv show in front of 250 people. So I was like, okay, we're doing this.
Did we rehearse once?
We rehearsed a couple times. I remember we met at Chick-fil-A for the first time.
Okay.
Had some, of the Lord's chicken.
That's right.
And blessed our union.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then we just we wrote a funny song to do in in the sketch. And then we did the improv show, and we just kind of high-fived each other afterwards. And we're like, but this can't be it. We want to do more.
Yeah. So we had hung out 2 times, and then Michelle called and left a message, and she was like, I missed you today. Is that weird? And I was like, I don't think so. No, I don't think there's anything weird about that. Because I also missed you. Didn't want to come on too strong. So then we started, again, this is pre-reels, pre-talk, pre all of it. So we started doing these YouTube videos, and that was kind of our first little viral moment together.
We did a few parody videos to a Taylor Swift song and a Coldplay song about different things like farmhouse decor and how Joanna Gaines was taking over our homes. And then a song about our friends who kept trying to sell us multi-level marketing products and get us to engage. And so these hits, they were hits, they went viral, and we got a lot of national media attention and grew our following base. And so we just decided to keep doing it as long as we were having fun with it. We figured, why not? So we started doing more and more parody videos that led into doing some MC work for different events and conferences.
Which is so much fun.
We love that.
Live events are, I mean, the videos are so much fun, but live events are the jam. Can we just agree?
We agree. We love a live audience.
Yes.
Is really kind of where we thrive for sure. So we did some shows and emceeing, and we actually traveled the country doing live comedy shows, and then then this thing called COVID-19 hit, which was a delight and a pleasure. And so we were all stuck at home when we started. We had like the year before that, we had figured out Enneagram and figured out our Enneagram numbers, and really as friends had really kind of enjoyed studying it, learning more, using it to learn more about each other, our marriages, our other friends. We got into it. So we decided to do some comedy about Enneagram and just picking random things and kind of going back and forth. We kind of divided up the numbers and just kind of did some sketches that we could do separately and then edit them together.
Yes.
And then that just kind of became our thing. And so we online, what you see primarily from us now is Enneagram comedy. And that's kind of what kind of developed our niche. Now, live shows, we still do mom comedy. We still do all the kind of parenting and mom friendship stuff. But people are following baseless the Enneagram content. So, and we love it too.
Because it's so relatable. I think it's just like, it's just so funny. You see it and you're like, yes, that is my number.
Yes.
You know?
And it's mainstream now. Like I think when we first started doing it, it wasn't as well known, and it's really picked up a lot of steam in the last few years.
Probably because of us.
Probably.
100%.
Single-handedly.
Okay, when you do your live shows, do you think that 2024 now, not 2017, it's easier to do improv together? Or how has it changed from your very first show when you had 2 dates beforehand at Chick-fil-A?
I almost want to make this a 2-part question.
Okay.
A, is it easier to be an improv duo now than it was in 2017? And then is it easier to improvise together? So to the second part of that question, I would say infinitely easier. Yeah. I know what you're going to say before you say it. Like,
we're really good on together and improvising because we just, I don't know, we've done it enough that you get that kind of groupthink, mind meld thing happening. But then it's beyond that too. Like I really do believe God brought us together and we have a fun, unique connection. Yeah. And we're kind of able to just anticipate what the other person's going to do or say. So the more we do it, the better it gets. So yes, it is definitely better in 2024 than it was in 2017.
What about being doing an improv show now versus 2017?
The challenge now is the amount of children you keep having.
Yeah, true.
So
artistic and enormous.
No, but that honestly, because Leann keeps having babies, and she hasn't been able to travel, and that's changed some things, and also homeschooling, and so that honestly has just become. But that's the right choice, right? That's the right choice for her and her family, and then for me, and I'm working full time now. I wasn't before. I wasn't in 2017. So all these things have changed, and so that makes it more challenging. But we found more friends. So we have 2 other gals who are moms and love Jesus and are totally inspirational to us in the way that they parent, and they do improv shows with us. So we have a little bit more variety. So if one of them has 6 kids, you have 5 kids, and so there's like 20 million children, I think is what that is.
Someone's always
between the 4 of us. Yeah. So if something happens, then we have someone to fall back on. So we've had to adjust and improvise as we've grown, but it's worked out really well.
Isn't that just every part of parenting though? Like no matter what you do for a career, it has to change as you have more kids. And as your kids get older and you make school choices and all that stuff.
Yeah. And we've talked about, do we want to do this anymore? Do we have the capacity to do it? And we've just kind of decided to kind of keep it there. And sometimes it moves to the back burner and we just kind of have to keep it alive. And then sometimes we can pull it forward. But we love that it's there and that we can keep doing it. And I think as our the seasons of parenting ebb and flow, there will be times that it works, and we're glad that it's there when those times come up.
Let's talk about faith in comedy.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of Christian comedians.
Yes.
Some are better than others.
Oh.
There are a lot
drop some names,
of
Steph?
I do not. There are a lot of not Christian comedians out there.
Yes.
So how do you find the balance with all of that? Like let's talk about just faith and comedy and what that is like.
How do we bring faith into comedy? Well, I mean, I think first of all, we're clean comics, which there is a pretty good genre of clean comics. Look at like Jim Gaffigan, for example, not necessarily faith-based, but clean comedy. Jerry Seinfeld is a clean comic.
Leann Morgan. She's pretty clean.
She's good.
Fancy.
Yeah. So, and we really feel when I was learning comedy, I was taught it's easier to make the bad jokes.
Yes.
It's easier to fall into the easy, types of comedic jokes. That's the easier laugh. It's actually harder to keep it clean. And we like that challenge, and also we like that our kids can be in the room and we're not feeling awkward. But working faith, and we have to be careful too, because sometimes we'll work a faith joke in and we offend people, but that's people. So
I think most people understand that we're joking from the inside in those moments. We can talk about those specific characters and what that looks like. But I would say this morning, actually, while I was getting ready, I was thinking about that old hymn, because he lives, I can face tomorrow, because he lives, all fear is gone. And I thought the only reason we can laugh, the Proverbs woman, the only reason we can do that is because we have this enduring hope in Christ. Otherwise, it would just be impossible to laugh at some of these terrifying times. We did virtual shows during COVID. And I remember our first virtual show that we did during COVID, nothing felt funny. Nothing felt funny to us that day. You and I weren't even in the same room for that show. We were from our homes, missing each other. Yeah. All of us were in the middle of this like terrifying moment. And the only reason I think that we could show up and be funny is because of the hope that we have in Christ.
We knew it wasn't going to be forever. We knew that there was a greater hope beyond. Yeah. And we do also feel like this is a calling. God doesn't give everybody the ability or desire to throw lipstick on the ground. God, we do feel like this is a calling. God doesn't give everybody the desire or talent to get up in front of a crowd of people and not know what you're going to say and just hope the words that come out are funny. And so he has gifted us with that ability. And so if we can use that to bring joy to people and, give them a little break from the mundane and the hard stuff and give them a little laugh in that moment, that's always what we've been just humbled and grateful to be able to do.
Yes.
But there is a lot of comedy in the church. There's a lot of, the Bible's funny, there's some funny stuff in the Bible. Like we've done some really funny content with that too. So anyway.
I like that you bring up, I just think laughter is so important, and it's so important to laugh through all the different phases of life, the highs and the lows, right? But it's so much harder when we don't have that hope in Christ, because the lows feel so much lower.
Exactly.
I was telling you before we recorded randomly that I have a friend who lost her husband recently, and I was just reminded, I was getting ready for his visitation, and I walked into my bathroom, and my very nice, Sephora level of leave-in conditioner was missing, replaced with a Target type of leave-in conditioner.
Oh, that's
so I walked into my 8-year-old daughter's bathroom and found my very nice leave-in conditioner. And it just made me laugh, because I was like, how on earth, if she's 8 years old, why is she already stealing my stuff?
She thought the swap. She didn't even switch bottles. She just, she didn't pour one into the other one.
Mom gets white rain.
So I texted my friend whose husband just passed away to tell her, I'm like, hey, do you want to laugh? And just told her, I was like, Harriet's already stealing my stuff. Yeah. And she just, and I didn't know. I'm like, should I be sending her this? This is weird. And she just responded, I'm laughing out loud, and I needed that.
Oh, I love that.
And it's just comedy is so important. But we never, I don't know. It's a hard balance.
It is. Well, Leann lost a baby and in a late term stillbirth situation, sweet baby girl. And that was obviously a very trying time for her, and trying to be support for her as her friend, and at the time, still business partner, and, just trying to kind of help balance everything and help her through that was challenging. And I remember coming to the hospital and her telling me, you just need to make me laugh.
I think my exact text was, come with a tight 5 because I have cried it all out. I've got nothing. I've got nothing. I was just numb. I was in the bed and I remember feeling like I've cried it all out. I don't have any more in me. What now? And again, coming back to the hope that is in Christ Jesus, like, praise the Lord. We have that hope of eternity, but it is such a gift to be reminded that you're not always going to feel however bad you're feeling in this moment.
Right.
And you came with that. You did it. I don't even know what that must have felt like for you to get that message. But you did it.
Yeah. I mean, you do what you need to for your friend, and I, I had been crying quite a bit too, but I knew the thing that God had brought me into her life, and our friendship and relationship was so built around laughter that it did make sense, but it was only because she asked for it. Cause it wasn't on the top of my list of things to do in that moment, as she's literally lying in a hospital bed. And it was so hard. But yeah, it was, and it's a moment we go back to often. That really, it brought us so much closer. I have never showed you this. Can I do something really quick? Hold on.
Oh, I'm so nervous.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I've been waiting for this moment. That day in the hospital. Oh my gosh. So the baby's name was Marion Bloom.
What do you have in your hand?
So that day in the hospital, I got down to they had a Starbucks in the hospital, and I was getting, I think, your husband a coffee, or all of us drinks. And they have like the little things that they have for sale. And they had this little pink mug, and it has flower blooms all over it. And I just bought it. And I've like had it as a precious reminder to me of that ever since.
Why would you tell me this here and now?
I don't know. I got out of it. And I, because it was such obviously a poignant time for Leann, but for me too. And this is just, every time I see it, I think of sweet Marion, and that was such a life-changing event. And the fact that I could be there present with her and bring some comfort meant a lot.
Thank you for showing me this.
You're welcome.
5 years later.
You're so sweet.
Yeah. And I don't want to like speak for you either, but comedy has been a significant gift for you too in your challenges.
Yes. Yeah. So I've been real open about the fact I've diagnosed with depression. Take 2 pills a day to help me stay buoyant, I like to say. And comedy has really been a lifesaver for me, and being able to laugh and relate to people. And I kind of like it when I kind of drop the bomb that I have depression, and it's something I deal with and is a challenge for me. And a lot of times people go, I had no idea, because you seem so happy and joyful all the time. And I'm genuinely happy and joyful most of the time. I have my moments. But then that can, people who also suffer from depression or anxiety can say, oh, wow, like that gives me hope that you can learn to pull yourself up and laugh and have a moment.
And we've had churches ask us specifically to do a comedy show and stop the comedy 40 minutes in to talk about these things, which is it sounds like it should be really difficult, because you basically bring the laughs to a screeching halt very intentionally, and then you try to get the energy back. But we have been so surprised to see how intimate those shows become, even the larger audiences. Yeah. It immediately gets so intimate, and the types of things we hear from the audience afterward. I mean, it's a big part of the reason hold on. Sorry, kick it up.
We have a baby. It's the people that will line up to talk to us afterwards and share. There's a lot of crying on shoulders, and that they've been through the same thing. And it just has, and then also bringing humor into a situation like that. You're smiling and you're talking about these things that are hard, but you're doing it with a smile on your face. And it just kind of makes it all relatable, and it opens the door for conversation and discussion, not just with us, but with the women in the room, with their friends and with their leaders. And it kind of opens the door to have those discussions, and facilitating that has been a joy.
Yeah. 2 things. I feel like it's such a beautiful way to hold space for, I always like to say 2 things can be true at once.
Yes.
Like you can be depressed and you can find joy and find laughter, and you can be grieving something and you can also experience laughter and joy. And you can be both those things at one time.
Yes.
And those are just really powerful stories and examples of that. And then I love that you're really emphasizing how sharing these stories and finding the humor in it and not making light of everything, but just finding joy in it just brings people together. And I think so much of life, so much of parenting specifically, we feel alone, whether you're have like littles or middles or you're having kids leave the nest, like it feels like alone. And you are always wondering, like, am I the only one? In comedy, the things that you guys are doing with either your parenting videos or even the Enneagram stuff too, is just saying like, no, you're not alone. You're like, me too.
Exactly. And there is definitely, I think people who are willing to put themselves out there and laugh at themselves, it's a big risk. And yet there are people out there saying, I 100% relate to that. And I feel the same. And you realize the more you do it, the more you're okay putting yourself out there and okay laughing at yourself. Then the more people that can relate to that. And then they start laughing at themselves too. And it does bring, kind of comedy has a way of really kind of leveling us all out. Right. So, it's something that you think is you're alone or you're down about, then someone's joking about something in that same space. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. And actually, that's kind of funny. That's where it's a lot of fun to be able to point that out for people.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever expect all of this to come from doing improv together? Like when you asked her in 2017, let's do this comedy show together. Did you ever think you're going to have all of this?
I didn't. No, I didn't. But I will be very honest and tell you that was a season of my life that was kind of uniquely lonely. I was just starting homeschooling and I didn't really know anybody doing it. And I just sort of was going through this period where I felt like I had forgotten how to make friends again or something. Like it was like high school 2.0 terrible. It was just horrible. And I when I met Michelle, I remember thinking, I really need this friendship. And it was weird. It was vulnerable to say that out loud. And I even remember telling her at one point, I'm like, you don't know how bad I needed a buddy this year. Like I needed a bud. And the Lord provided that for me. And having a friendship like that, someone who came in and proved herself faithful, proved herself loving, handled all my weird, just all of that.
I love your weird.
Right. This sounds so silly, but having somebody do that for me reminded me that there could still be rich seasons of friendship ahead for me. And I'm just so thankful for you. You know that. I'm wildly thankful for you.
Yeah, likewise. And we balance each other out too, because introvert, extrovert, that phrase, like, how does an introvert make friends? An extrovert finds them and then
tells them
that is 100% how this went down. I mean, that is us to a T. But then we've made a funny video about that where, like, Leann, you're trying to hide in your house and I'm trying to get you to come out.
Yes.
That kind of stuff too. It's just, it's.
And you asked before how a 4 and an 8 work together. Like, how does that work? I think, again, not to bring everything back to the Enneagram, but I think that's a great pairing because the 4, I don't know, what's your wing stuff? Is it a 2 or a 4? Do you know? It's a 2. Okay. So you and I have nothing to say to each other, basically. Nothing. I'm just kidding.
No, someone was like, you're a 4. And I'm like, oh. So now I'm doubting myself, but I thought I was a 2 for a really long time. So I'm just leaning into that. That's like,
no, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you're a 3-2 wing. And look, our favorite Enneagram guy, Sir Ian,
yes.
he loves to tell us we have access to both of our wings, and that's a very good thing to remember.
Yeah.
But 4s tend to get stuck in their head space a lot. We're prone to inactivity. Sometimes we're just
melancholy, drama.
Yes. Yeah. And 8s are people of action. Mm-hmm. And so there would be times where I would think, oh, I don't want to put this video out because it's not perfect yet. I want to marinate on it for another 6 months. And the joke needs developing and the story needs telling. And Michelle's like, okay, great. I'm going to be releasing it in 15 seconds right here. Write a caption, do it, and see you tomorrow. We'll film again. And if not for you, we would have put out very little content.
Yeah, that's true. 100%. True.
And if it had been just me, we would have put out 2 masterpieces.
Instead, we put out dozens of mediocre content. But look at where it got us. It got us to the Christian Parenting Podcast. So that's
right. You were right.
Yeah. And I say as an 8, I am, that's very true. I'm the one who kind of keeps us on task, always moving forward. And this one though and I'm an 8 wing 7. So I don't sit in my emotions ever. Those can be dealt with never. We're just going to keep moving on. But this one cries so much and has taught me the importance of leaning into emotions and being still and marinating in an experience and has brought that into focus for me in a way I don't think I ever would have truly taken the time to stop and think about had we not had such a close, friendship, had God not brought us together. So, that's been one of the ways that she's really balanced me out. So we really do celebrate our differences, and we're really open with one another, and our communication is so open. And we just are very clear and what we can do for each other that's going to level things out.
Let's talk about friendship for a second. You kind of have touched on this, but I want to go a little bit deeper because I think friendship is really, really hard in this season.
Yeah.
Like you have your few friends that you're like, I need to remain invested in this person, but you have a full-time job and homeschool 5 kids. And, there's so much going on and so many moving pieces. What do you think the key to just like a successful long-term friendship is?
The key to maintaining a long-term friendship with another mom during these crazy busy seasons of life is a lot of grace and making sure you are speaking each other's languages. So we don't see each other as often as we used to, especially since during the school year when she's homeschooling and my kids are in school and I'm working. But we make touch points to see each other at certain times. And we know each other's, quote unquote, love languages, right? So I might randomly drop off a bouquet of flowers for her, or she might, randomly send me an encouraging text or say she's blocked time for the two of us to get together. These kinds of things, just kind of hitting on these points where we know because we know each other so well, we know what the other will appreciate. And so just but then giving a lot of grace because, the fact that she goes radio silent does not mean it has anything to do with her affection towards me or the future of our friendship and vice versa. And we can pick up right where we left off. And I think a lot of mom friends who their friendship has survived those years will say the same thing, that there was never an intention of leaving the friendship. It was just the time and how crazy it is with the littles and the middles and apparently the olders too. So is not crazy, but just making sure you're touching base during those times. I have another close friend of mine who lives in another state, and again, same thing. Like we don't get to fly and hang out as much as we used to, but her love language is gifts. So I will randomly mail her a gift and I have 100% made her day, right? Or I'll randomly get a snail mail card from her and I know I'm thought of. So being purposeful and intentional with the ways that you touch base, but really surrounding that with an aura of grace and understanding that this is not forever and this does not mean the relationship is changing or going away.
I want to add to that also, whatever you decide your touch points are, once you decide what they are, be faithful to them, however silly they may seem. And I'm sorry if I'm repeating something that you said while I was bouncing the baby. But for whatever reason, Michelle and I have decided we make a really big, dumb deal over each other's birthday gifts. Like we spend too much money and it's really foolish and ill-advised, but we do it and it's so fun. And we always make sure we see each other like in person on our birthdays. And there's a big, ridiculous, over-the-top gift that goes with it. Or like her son was in a play recently and did such an amazing job. We were there in the audience. Once you know what those touch points are, being faithful to show up for them, even if they only happen once every couple of months, that makes you, it keeps you so connected.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying about knowing what speaks to the friend. And for example, I invited Leann over today after this. I need help organizing my son's bedroom. It's a disaster. And that is her love language. Steph, she likes organizing my house.
So much.
You got to find yourself a friend who likes to organize your house. She's organized many rooms of my house.
Your study, your room, your
my
closet.
kitchen when we did our kitchen remodel.
Yep.
So yeah, she was like, I will be there. She's so excited about it. So that's also benefits me too. So.
Really fun friend date. Actually, I do think it sounds super fun.
It's amazing.
Wait till you see it though. It's not. It's very scary.
Yeah.
It's
two of my go ahead.
It's because I'm amazing at it. I'm amazing at it. Like I truly wish the Lord had given me a more useful skill. I would love to be good at gardening. I would. I'd love to inspire nations. But the Lord is like, closets. You get closets. I don't know
that's
why.
Like as useful as you can get.
I'm incredible at them. I could literally, I don't know what's in that closet behind you, but if you open that door, girl, I'll change your life. Like, seriously.
Do you want to know what's in this closet behind you?
Yeah, kind of I do.
My childhood bedroom again. And now I live close to my little sister and my parents. And so this is our costume closet. This is where all the Halloween costumes go so that we can all share it.
Oh my goodness.
Are they costumes from your childhood?
No, those are in the garbage.
Okay.
We are not sentimental people like that.
But like the ones that your kids are still in those sizes that you can reuse.
Kids ones, adult ones, anything that, if you're going to a flapper party, there is a flapper dress in there.
That makes me want to buy like an old vintage armoire.
Yes.
And have that be a whimsical closet full of costumes.
Yes. And our kids are all into acting. So
yes,
they would use that on the reg.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do it communally, so you're not always spending money on all the costumes.
I love that so
love it.
much. Anyway, I could organize it.
Yeah.
So just saying, that's not why we're here, but I am incredible at it. So,
well, I wish that you were here to help me with my new house. Okay, so I do want to add two of my very best friends. Well, one of my best friends, our birthday tradition is I just forget her birthday every year because I'm terrible at birthdays. And it is at this point just the running joke. So it's fine. She's not offended. Everyone knows. But two of my other best friends, I work full time. One has a baby toddler. The other one is working part time. We just used to spend every day together. We don't anymore. But once a month we're trying to do lunch. And the only way that it works is we go to the one with the toddler's house during nap time. Yes. And we get like Jimmy John's and then we're there for 1 hour.
Yes.
That sounds so nice.
Expectations are low, but we're together.
But you still accomplish what you needed to accomplish, which is the touch point for the relationship. And it's interesting too, because it's talking about touch points. Sometimes you're friends with people because of proximity. So you're friends with, your best friend growing up is the kid who lived next door because you saw each other all the time, or like your best friend that was in school with you. Or sometimes you're close with someone because they go to your same church. So you have a touch point with them every week. You're going to see them at church on Sunday at the very least, right? But I feel like in this phase of life, even if you go to the same church, you miss Sundays because kids are sick or, you're traveling or whatever happens and we don't go to the same church. And so you have to be intentional about those touch points. So going to your friend's house once a month during nap time, bringing over a takeout. We've done that many times. That's a great example of really making a touch point work because you're being intentional about the friendship and realizing that if a friendship seems distant and you don't have a natural touch point, that you need to be intentional about that. Otherwise, the friendship might fade away and just seeing people where they're at. So, actually Jimmy John's in the middle of the afternoon sounds fantastic. We should order that.
It's just a nice little way to break up the day.
Yeah. And great for that mom who, gosh, being able to stay home, put the baby down, someone bring her food. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Yes. And I work from home, so I get to get out of the house for a moment. So everyone wins.
Everybody wins. That's perfect.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys so much talking about all of these things. I feel like we covered a lot of ground.
Oh, thank you.
A variety of topics, but I really appreciate your insight and your relationship with each other and what you have to offer parents and just giving the world a little bit of joy through comedy. So Thank you for taking time. I know it was a lot to be on, so I appreciate it.
Oh, our pleasure, of course.
This was amazing.
It was an excuse to have a touch point and get my kids' closet and room organized. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you guys so much.
I really loved Michelle and Leann's emphasis that having hope in Christ enables them to find humor even in the difficult times and allows them to bring laughter to others, even when it's hard. I have links to connect with them in the show notes. If you don't already follow them, I highly recommend that you do. They will definitely be a bright spot in your social media feeds. I would also challenge you to think of one friend today and schedule some time to connect. It can be simple, like bringing lunch over during nap time, dropping off a coffee, or even doing your grocery shopping together. But create a touch point with someone you care about today, and I promise you it will be worth it. Thank you for being here. May God bless you. May you find joy and laughter in unexpected places this week. And in the mundane or hard moments, may you find comfort and experience God's grace in a tangible way. Thank you so much for listening to the Christian Parenting Podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And if you love this podcast, would you please consider leaving a review and sharing it with a friend? This is the best way to reach more people and encourage even more parents. Christian Parenting is a donor-funded ministry, and we rely on friends like you to keep podcasts like this going. So to find out more about Christian parenting and to make a donation, head over to christianparenting.org or at christianparenting_org on Instagram. Thank you again. See you next week.